Can you hear me? Yes? I hear an echo though. Is that normal? The echo? Okay. Okay, I know that some of you have been waiting for this topic. I hope I don't disappoint you. I know that Eddie was waiting for it. Thank you very much. So I'm just going to ask you be patient because I'm not a preacher or a teacher or obviously a speaker. But I'm going to tell you, I do know about relationships and I know about dating. And I know a lot about heartache. And I've done plenty of mistakes. So I hope that whatever I discuss here, it would help you to make better choices than the ones I made when I was a lot younger. Right now I'm 41, so it's been a while. So I don't know. I just had a very hard time, like trying to put this together. I don't know. Like the more that I thought about it, I don't know. I could not put it into words because I know that knowing about STDs and unwanted pregnancies and about AIDS, I mean, everybody knows about that. And I knew about that, and it didn't stop me from having sex before I got married. And, that is the truth. We know all these things, and we're still like, I don't care. It's not going to happen to me. I'm young, and whatever lie we want to tell ourselves, and, I know that it stopped me. I know that it doesn't stop a lot of people. So I kept thinking of why is it that we do this to ourselves? Why do we keep doing the things that hurt us? Especially I know that I'm in a church audience and a lot of you are supposed to be walking with God. Many of you have been in church for a long time. And I know that that a lot of us have a church face and then a home face. We act very, very different when we come to church, but then when we're at home, when we're at school, we're very, very different. And we act different, and how we behave with our friends, what we say, what we post in Snapchat, or honestly, I don't know anything about the phone, but I know that there's all these websites where you try to post things and you want people to look at you. And a lot of the time, especially girls, not men, you act up a different way, but girls, you do very revealing things. You'll expose a lot of yourself just because you want attention and you want to feel pretty and you want to be wanted and all these crazy things that we do for attention. So there's so many layers, and obviously, if we look into that, I'm going to talk for myself. I know that now at 41, I can go back 20-some years, and I know that a lot of the mistakes that I made, it was because, well, there were many, many factors, but one of them was my home life, how I grew up, the family that I had, and one of the main was because I didn't know God. I didn't come to Christ until I was 30-some, so I was pretty old, and I had made a lot of mistakes. So we look into that. I know that, obviously we're all different. We have all different backgrounds. Our families, even though they're different in many, many ways, we are the same. For example, I know that my parents were never home because they had to work, and we were very poor. Don't think that it was just because we were poor, and there were a lot of issues. On top of that, we were just a very dysfunctional home. So we were never home, and I remember that it was just a bunch of us, and we pretty much raised ourselves. So it was kind of like, I don't know, I feel like for a long time I used to say that I was raised by wolves because really, it is true. Maybe I know that many of you are not going to understand, but you're home, you feed yourself, you have chores to do. My parents, they're very, very ignorant people. They didn't go to school. So they don't teach us anything. Not even manners, like zero. We're like little savages, for real. Still, some of my siblings are like savages. So all of that, like I said, my home was very dysfunctional. There was a lot of physical abuse. There was a lot of mental abuse. And when I mean my mental, it could be emotional because there was a lot of name calling. You know, I know that now that it was maybe a lot of ignorance and it was more my mother reflecting her own pain. But words stay with you. More than the beatings that she would give us, words will stay with you. Because I know that that shaped a lot of how I saw myself, because she would say, you're so ugly and nobody ever is going to love you. But now I know that it was how she saw herself. It was her own hurts. But back then, I mean, I was a child. I don't know. I hear this over and over again. And you start believing that, and then you start seeing yourself this way. So it just marks you and it just sets you up to make all kinds of mistakes. So I know that probably a lot of you don't have to deal with this type of thing, but maybe you have to deal with neglect in a different way. I know that for you, some of your parents, they work a lot because they want to have a very nice living, a very nice house, a very nice car, so you want to go on nice vacations. So they work a lot and they're gone, and maybe you're not raised by wolves, but maybe you just left alone for a long time. And a lot of the times we want to make up for that by giving you nice things, but at the end of the day, that's all you're going to have. Those things, and those things are never going to take the place of a family, and they're never going to make you feel loved. And as much as we want to pretend that they do, they want to make us feel special, but as clear as that is, I hope that you know that no, whatever latest phone there is or whatever gadget your parents give you, I hope that you understand that that's not going to make you any better or it's not going to make you any more special to anyone. So, and obviously there's other factors. My dad was never around, or for whatever reason, he had his own, pains and hurts and struggles. So for whatever reason, he was never home. He was not the best provider to the day. So especially for girls, I know that relationship that you have with your dad is very, very important. And if for whatever reason, I know that it's not up to you, but if your dad is not there, that you don't have a healthy relationship with him, that will screw you up. Because for us, for women, we get our self-worth from our parents. So that is very important. And I need you to know that right now, not to be upset at your dad or angry at him, but for you to know, and you need to do something about it right now. You cannot let that define you, because that will mess you up. It messed me up. I had daddy issues. So let me tell you one thing. Men love girls with daddy issues, because it's true. It's true. Because girls that have daddy issues, we tend to look for the wrong guy. We tend to end up with jerks. Some of us, we tend to look for older men, looking for that father figure. We're going to do just about anything to get that attention, to feel that acceptance, to in trying to fill that void and that love that we're craving. But obviously, it never ends up in a good way. So I just telling you that, not to be angry, not to be frustrated. Obviously, you do have a right, if for whatever reason you've been hurt, to feel that anger, but don't use it to hold yourself back. But know that, okay, this will not define me, and I will not go and look for a man like this. I cannot marry my father. Okay, so, and for guys, I know that I'm leaving you out, but let me tell you this. You can also have father issues, and you can also have mother issues. If you have father issues, you tend to become your father. Even if you say, no, I'm never going to be that man, believe me, over the years, odds are that you will become that man that you tend to have anger towards or even hate. That will happen because we're not guarding our heart. And if you have a mother, it could be two things. Your mother could be very cold, very distant for whatever reason, she cannot give you the love, that caring that you need. So that will mark you. You will become very distant. You will not trust women. That will affect you. So do not hate your mother, but you need to watch out. You need to watch out for your heart, and you need to think of the person that you will look for in the future when you're ready to get married. Now, in the other hand, if your mother is over motherly, if she's one of those ladies that you are her baby, she treats you like you're 2 years old and you're 15 already, that would also affect you, okay? Because she's never gonna let you grow. Okay, she's always gonna be there hovering over you. She will not let you make your own decisions. No girl will ever be good enough for you. So please watch out. She is doing it. She's misguided. Obviously, she doesn't want to hurt you. But sometimes as parents, obviously, we make mistakes. So you need to watch out for that too. I know that we're your parents, but you are your own person. You need to seek God, and you need to have your own opinions and your own beliefs. Okay? So I know that I'm giving you a bunch of ugly things, but I just want to make you think, because we all have different backgrounds, all of us, and we all carry pains. And you're not only carrying your own pains, but you're carrying things from your parents. There's such thing as generational curses that a lot of the times we don't know where they come from. And I mean, it happened to me, and I know that my husband and many, many people that we know, we just don't know what we're carrying. It's just like a mystery bag. So you need to do a lot of soul searching to figure out, why am I angry? Why do I crave for people to look at me? Why do I have this sense that I have to be with someone? I have no peace when I'm alone. I have to be around people so I can be okay. Why do I tend to self-destruct, either by doing things that hurt me? I don't know if some of you, I'm pretty sure, already tasted alcohol or maybe drugs. I don't know, maybe of you already had sex. And I'm not asking you to raise your hands and don't get all sweaty and start looking around. You're going to give yourself away. Just act normal. I mean, I'm not throwing stones at anyone. Okay? I'm the least one to be doing that. Like I told you, I had sex before I had married. Obviously, I had a very bad judgment. And I did it because out of my own pain, out of my own issues that I had. And like I said, I looked for someone. I didn't look for someone. I mean, it just happened that way. You know, the enemy puts all... Well, I know, I'm not going to say the enemy, sweetie. It just happened that way. It just blurred. But, you know, things happen that way, and he used to be a very different person. But obviously, he didn't love me, and he just wanted to have sex with me, and obviously, I wanted to find that person to complete me and fill this void that I had. And I thought, okay, you know what? He's going to do it. And obviously, he didn't. He just, you know, made a mess, and we hurt each other so much, and there was so many years of just hurts and so many pains, and it tends to be the story. So now with what I said, I hope you heard the part that I said, that I look for someone to complete me or to help me, because a lot of the times, that's why we want to date. We want to find somebody because you hear this, that you need to find your other half. And let me tell you that there is no other half. When God made you, he made you. He made Adam and he made Eve. He did not make Adam half and then Eve the other half and put them together. No, there's two whole people. There's two whole persons. Now you come together with someone to share your life, to encourage each other, to have a life together, but never to complete each other, because that's never going to work. You're just kidding yourself. If obviously some of you already know that because you look at your parents. You know, a lot of the times, like I said, we fail you. I know that for us, for many, many years, we did not have a good marriage. and it was not fair for my kids because it was not their fault that two incomplete people got together and they were expecting each other to fulfill each other, and then we brought kids into the mixture and we just gave them a horrible life. So I know that you know what I'm saying is true because you live in your house and you know that your parents might not scream here at church, but they scream at each other at the house. And you know that there's a lot of issues. And you know that there's a lot of hurts. And we become very good at pretending that that is not true. And I'm not telling you to be all depressed. You know, oh my God, I hate my life. It's not about that. It's about opening our eyes and to know that, okay, I cannot do anything about my parents' marriage. Or maybe they're already even divorced. But I can do everything. I can do something about how I want to live my life. The type of man that I'm going to marry, the type of girl that I'm going to marry. If you want a marriage, I know that everybody keeps thinking that, okay, by 20 I need to find my true love, and then by 25 I need to get married, and then by 30 I need to have 2 kids. That's not how it is. That's what the world tells you that you have to do. That's not how it is. There is no map. There is no list of things that you have to do at all. We're all very different. God created you unique. Maybe you're not meant to get married. Maybe you are meant to get married at 40. Maybe you are meant to get married, I don't know, 35, whatever. Maybe you're not meant to have kids. You need to think about that. Because I know that a lot of mistakes that people do is that they just pretend to be someone else. We get very good at pretending. And we pretend until we get married, because when we're married, well, you cannot do anything about it. We're married already, right? And then the true self comes out, and that's when all the craziness starts. And a lot of the times, you don't even know each other. You have no idea who you married. Maybe the other person doesn't even want to have kids. Maybe they want to have 5 kids, and you only want to have 2. So there's all these issues about, well, maybe she doesn't want to work, or maybe she wants to work and you don't want her to work because you want somebody to stay with the kids. There's all these things that we really don't think about. We just think, oh, I want my perfect wedding with this beautiful white dress and all these things and butterflies and everything in white and all these things that is not bad. Believe me, it's not bad. But that is the least of your worries, because that is just one day. And that day is going to come and go. And it's after that day, after you come back from the honeymoon, if you go to a honeymoon, that your real life starts. Because you're going to have to be with that person not 24/7, but you're going to have to share your life with that person. And you're going to see who they really are, how they smell when they don't shower, how they smell when they just woke up. You know, when you see those movies and then the girl, she looks so pretty and she's like, oh, and they kiss. That doesn't happen because you have morning breath. That never happens. That is a lie. And obviously her hair and we don't look. I mean, some of you, I know that right now having lashes is the in thing. She doesn't wake up with those lashes, and we look very different. So a lot of the time, you're not thinking about that. You look at her, and she's all put together. But let me tell you, especially now, I don't know if there's some ladies, they have these fajas, I don't know, the girdles. They have these girdles that you put on, and they make your butt stick out, and then your breasts pump up. But let me tell you, she's going to take off that girdle, and she's not going to look like that. She is not going to look like that, okay? And I'm not picking on the girls. I'm not. I mean, men are just the same because you fall for that. So how shallow are you, really? Lady, come on. Come on, let's be real. And I know, like, men are very visual. They're very visual people. And a lot of the things that men will always struggle with is lust. It's just how it is. You're going to struggle with lust, and you need to be real about it. You need to be honest. And you need to do a self-assessment very often. Because a lot of the time I'm like, no, I read my Bible and I know that I'm not gonna be looking. But come on, if in the Middle East they have the women covered, and even if they show their ankle, is considered like, oh my God, like like you're supposed to be lusting. How crazy is that? That just goes to show your mind that if you can lust with just looking at a girl's ankle or her hands, those are deep heart issues. It doesn't matter. In the Bible says in Genesis that Adam and Eve were naked and they felt no shame. And that's because when they were walking with God, they were in community with God, they had an open relationship. There was openness. Not open, you can date each other, other people. I mean, there was openness in that relation. There was trust. There was respect. That's why it didn't matter that they were naked. Obviously, then sin came into the picture, and that was gone. They had to sew clothes from fig leaves and cover themselves because now they had shame. I know I had shame after I had sex with my now husband, but back then he wasn't. I know I did. Because that's what sin does to you. And I couldn't go. It was not something that I was proud of and tell everybody at school, like, oh my God, I had sex. No, you keep it quiet because you don't want anybody to know. And as bad as I felt and as low as I thought about myself, that even took me even lower, like, oh my God, who's going to want me now? I'm worth nothing now. I gave this precious thing up, and which is true. I'm not diminishing that. Now, who's going to want me if he doesn't stay with me? And it's just ludicrous, and the enemy uses that to keep playing with you and keep torturing you and it just keeps you farther away from God. Not that I knew him at the time, but even if you know him, it keeps you from coming to him. I know it's uncomfortable, but it's the truth. It's the truth. So it took me a long, long time, and I wish it would have been sooner, to realize that regardless of what I gave up, my worth is not there. I know that many of you already have done things that you regret, and I know that there's no time machine. We cannot go back in time and undo them, and we have to live with our choices, and there's consequences. But once you come to Christ, and I hope that you know that you don't have to live with that regret. He takes that away. He takes your shame. He takes all your pain. He's not going to give you your virginity back. But he will make you a new person. And he will help you live a different life and make better choices. And I know that in the future, if you find someone that knows what you're worth and that knows who you are, they'll be with you and they'll love you regardless of what you've been, of what you've done. You just have to be very careful to make the right choice, to find that person. Because we tend to look, we tend to repeat our mistakes. Once you've done it once, you keep doing it and doing it and doing it. And if you find the wrong person, the next person is only going to keep reaffirming that you're nothing. You're lucky that I'm with you because you already had slept with blah, 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 or you already had done so, and you're worth nothing. You should be lucky that I'm with you. And that's how you stay in those relationships, in those sick, unhealthy relationships. So you need to know that if anybody ever pressures you to have sex or to do anything immoral or illegal, you need to run the hell away from that person. You need to stay away because they're not good for you. And I know that a lot of the times you're like, oh, I'm going to pray for them. I'm going to bring him to God, and he's going to have a nice, happy ending. That's not going to happen. You're not their Savior. Only Jesus is. You pray for them, but you can pray for them from afar. You need to stay away from them. And God, only God knows. Who knows? Maybe sometimes, rare times, it happens that that person comes to Christ and they change. But sometimes many years happen, and in the future you can come together, but not now. And you need to be wise. You need to ask God to give you wisdom, to know that when you must stay away from certain people. And it's not that you're better. It's not that they're bad. It just means that they're not good for you, or they're not a good influence, and you need to stay away from them. So I know that my tone is a little bit depressing, and I know nobody's laughing, and I know that it's so uncomfortable, but I really, really believe that these are things that you need to know. We cannot ignore this. I know that we tend to, as Christians, we like to believe that we're better than what we are, not that we're monsters, but we still have the same struggles. We're still sin. And a lot of times we just love to, play our Bible card, but, that's how it is. So I just want to encourage you that if you don't have anybody that you can talk to, find someone. Because it's very important not to stay there, not to stay with whatever you're struggling with, especially if it's sexual. Sexual sin is one of the sins that doesn't come alone. Because I know that when I had sex, I lied about it. You manipulate. My husband was very manipulative. So you're not only doing that, you're not only, disrespecting yourself, but you do other things. So it's a combo of sins that you're doing. And I know that with technology, is not helping you. I know that not only boys do it, I know that girls, we're not the exception. But I would really want to challenge you to stay off your phone. You don't have to go to porn sites, You can just go to, I don't know what it is, Facebook, or there's all these other apps where girls Twitter, where girls are almost naked. And you just go to the bathroom and just hide yourself there and just go happy with yourself. And we know, I know we're at church, but it's true. It's true. Okay, and we need to be open. This is something, God created sex. Well, let's not be pious about it. So think about it. I know that when you're doing that, you're not thinking about, oh God, I'm sinning, and oh God, God knows, you know. And then we repent, and oh, I'm not going to do it again, and we keep doing it. And especially that, I know that a lot, I used to think that porn was really not bad because, you're not cheating, you're not with somebody else. But the thing about porn is that you need an image. And before it used to be magazines. I know that that is super old-fashioned. That was like 50 years ago. Now you have your phones, and you don't need to go to a porn site. You can go to the Twitters and stuff, but you need to use your mind. You need to look at a picture. And then you use your imagination. You let it run wild. But let me tell you, once you're done, that stays here. You're poisoning your mind. That is garbage. Because whenever you find someone and you marry this person, they're not going to be able to satisfy you. It doesn't matter how pretty she is, how nice she is, how good she is, because you already have all this garbage in your head. And obviously, she's not going to do what all these people were doing. And she's just one person. And you keep seeing all these different people that it's very easy to say, you know what, it's good, but it's not that good. So you keep doing it. You keep masturbating. And then after that, you're like, you know what, maybe if I do it with somebody else, it will be like, when I do it by myself. And it's a slippery slope. You start here and you end up having, and it's very, very hard to overcome. It's an addiction. So you need to be very, very careful. Your head. What you put in your mind. Because once you do that, it's so hard to get it out. So I tell that to my kids all the time. Don't think that I'm just picking on you. And my poor kids, they have me 24/7. I'm just bugging them all the time. But girls are the same. I know that statistic is less for girls to be masturbating, but we do the same thing because we look at romantic novels. And we think that Prince Charming is going to come and he's going to rescue me, and I'm going to live happily ever after, and that doesn't happen. There's no Prince Charming. We get all these distorted ideas of what marriages or relationships are. That's not how it is. And the same thing that the garbage that the guys are putting in their heads with these images, we do the same, but we do it looking at these celebrities that their life, honestly, their life is not as good as in the screen. Most of them have been divorced, I don't know how many times. And nowadays, you celebrate people for making sex tapes and put them on TV and all their celebrities. So we look at that. And if you're looking at those kind of shows from these type of people, I wasn't even going to mention their name, they're not worth mentioning their name. But it's not only them, there's so many of them that if you look at this type of garbage, because it is garbage. So what are you saying that you look up to them? If you didn't, you wouldn't be looking at this. And then you go and you buy their makeup and their clothes that is made in China. So you are contributing. Every time you turn on to that TV, every time you buy their things, you say, yes, I am vouching. I'm putting my sticker of approval on this person. I want to be them. And what they're selling is sex. And that's what you're buying. So girls, I think we're better than that. Do not settle for that. Do not settle for what the world says that is good, because it's not. So, the Kardashians, if they knew that I was talking about them, they wouldn't care. But so now, where do we go? Where do we go from now? What do you do? Let me tell you right now, you're very, very young. I know that I have like 12-year-olds to 20-some-year-olds. And let me tell you, if you're single, right now should be the time of your life. Do not hurry to get in a relationship. Do not hurry to get married. Right now, you should be concentrating on yourself, on being better. And I'm not saying that you're going to go get a PhD, which, it's not a bad thing if you do. What I mean is that you need to work on yourself. There are so many things within yourself. Like I said, we carry stuff from from your parents, and you are carrying things from your childhood. So you need to dig through all that web of just stuff and clutter and issues that you have. And you need to undo that before you get with anyone. Because if you wait to get with someone to start working on that, it's not going to work. Because that person's going to get tired. Okay? Or you're going to get tired. Because maybe it's the other person that has way too many issues. So right now, use this time to enjoy being single, to work on yourselves, to be a better person, to really figure out who you are. Because I know that I'm 41 and it took me a long time to figure out who I was. It took me a very long time. I came to Christ when I was 33, not too long ago. I thought it was a very long journey to be where I am today. It was not probably until I was 35, 36. Talking about the 30s, like for you, it's like twice your age. That I really felt loved. That I, for once in my life, that I truly felt that I was worth it, that I belonged, that it makes sense that I was here. That is a very long time. You're very young. Don't wait. And I know that I was very stubborn. Hopefully you won't be as stubborn as I was. But don't waste your life. Don't waste your life playing video games. Don't waste your life. Don't. That's not real. I tell my kids all the time, I like to go in and bug them. I'm like, please pray for the people that you're killing. And I'm like, Mom, get out of the way. But that is not real. They waste hours playing video games. You don't get that time back. Girls, do not waste your life watching romance novels or gossiping. Let me tell you something, and I'm not trying to be mean or anything. Women, girls, we tend to be vicious with each other. Instead of building each other up, we tend to tear each other down. Because a lot of the times we are insecure. And obviously we want to be the prettiest of them all. And, we're human and we have a sinful nature. And if you see somebody that is prettier than you, or has a better body, or whatever, better eyes, or whatever in your mind, you're just reflecting yourself. You feel inferior, and that's where you latch out, and you start talking about them, and you start hating on them. And we don't need to do that. We really don't. Men can do the same, but they just do it in a different way. Don't think that they're angels. No, they do. They're just not gonna be hating like, oh my God, he has an amazing body. No, they're not gonna do that. They're gonna say it in a different way, and they're gonna try to be macho and all this stuff to show their insecurities. But basically, we're all the same. It's just that women, we just have that, just because we're girls, we have that extra nudge that we tend to do that. A lot of the times we cannot be real friends to each other because there's always that competition that you want to be the best, you want to be the prettiest. Instead of looking at each other like we're sisters. And just because you look different than me, it doesn't make you better than me, and I am not better than you. And we should never think of ourselves that way. Especially if we're Christians. Think about that. We just tend to it's our sinful nature, again. So with all that, if you really do a self-assessment, are we really living for Christ? Have we really given ourselves to Christ? Because I know that for a long time I gave myself to Christ, but to actually walk the walk, that is very different. To make him your Lord, to be able to obey. God says, if you love me, keep my commandments. Obey and keep my commandments. Do we do that? Or we only hear at church and then we go and we don't? And I'm telling you these things because, like I said, we are at a church setting. All of you know about God. Many of you are here week after week, and you raise your hands and you sing the song. But are you really living for God? I'm asking you because I know that a lot of the times I did it when I became a Christian. You just fake it till you make it. You fake it till you make it, and you go and you put a nice face and you say, I bless you, brother, and this and that, and you say the right things. And then as soon as it was out of there, oh my God, I was a demon on heels. I used to wear heels back then because that's how it is. And I know that a lot of you have learned it from your parents. And I'm not trying to bash them, but that is a reality because I know that a lot of the things our kids learned it from us. And now it's so hard to undo what we did. But I'm not going to get discouraged. But I don't want you to make the same mistake. I'm sorry, it's because I don't know the time. I keep talking and all right. So I know a lot of you, I know it's been a super long week. We bored you. All of us keep saying the same verses over and over again. And that's why I struggle. And that's why I struggle the whole, I'm like, I'm going to give it to them all over again. So, I am about to close. And I know that Pastor Lute said that, and he kept going for half an hour. But I just want to make you think. And this is for yourself. You're going to do this on your own. Okay, it's not for here. You're not going to raise your hand or anything. But all of this, I hope that it makes you think of who you want to be, about your past, about your future. And I just want to remind you that to love God, you need to love others and you need to love yourself. I mean, love God and love others as yourself. But the thing with me was that for a very long time, I did not love myself. And I know that a lot of you already know that some of the things that I said last year. So I want to challenge you. And at the same time, I want to question, do you really love yourself? Because many of us don't. We mistake selfishness for love. We're just selfish people, but we really don't love ourselves. I know I didn't. And I know that many of you are lost and are confused, and you truly don't. Because if you did love yourself, you would not self-harm, and you would not do a lot of the things that you do that bring hurt and harm to yourself. So think about that. Just think about that. And I think that is the main issue, that we're not able to love other people. Even as Christians, we can see it here. I mean, not here, but I mean, where we live. That we sing the Hallelujah song, and then we go out and we talk bad about people, and we're angry and we're hateful. And just think about that. If you have hate in your heart, you cannot love. We have no love. And if we do not love others, do we really love God? If we cannot even love someone next to us, do we really love God? Do we really have a relationship with Him? I know I didn't. And it took me a very long time to get to that point. And I told you last year that it was kind of like the Grinch when his little heart grew and it just hurt, because you have to let go and truly allow Him to come into your heart. And it's just a long process. It's not like, okay, I come today and I'm loved, and tomorrow I go out and I paint, butterflies everywhere. It's a process that you have to do, and you need to surrender your life to Him every day. And you need to allow Him to change your life, to come, to make decisions for you. And a lot of us, especially at your age, it's very hard to do. Because I know that once you live here, whenever you go back to school or whenever you go back to your neighborhood, you're going to be acting very different. And you're going to say, oh, that was good, but, I'm going to go back to the bathroom. I'm going to go back to the video games. I'm going to go back to whatever it is that I live and how I talk to my friends about girls. Girls the same. We go back to our go-to sinful things that nobody knows about. And then we come back to church and we do the same thing. I'm not trying to make you feel bad. That is the reality. I did that for many, many years. And I was an adult. And I did it as a child, not at church, but even in my regular life. We tend to do that. You don't want people to know. You don't want to be vulnerable. Because you don't want people to know, like, I struggle with this, and, my parents, this is going on, and I don't have a good self-esteem, and I look at myself this way. Because we don't, especially guys, like, really? Oh my God, like, I don't think of myself, I think I'm dumb, or whatever, or my family, my parents keep fighting, or my parents are going to get divorced, or my father is having an affair, or my mother is, whatever it is. We don't want to. It doesn't mean that you need to go and tell everyone. But you should be transparent with people that care about you, especially here. Not that they're gonna fix your problems, but they'll listen to you, and maybe they'll encourage you, and I hope you'll pray. So how about that? Yeah, finally, just one more minute. I look at all of you, and I have hope because you're young. I know that if I had come to Christ when I was your age, my life would be very, very different. So do not take for granted this week. There was a lot of people that was here trying to encourage you, trying to give you advice, not because, especially me, not because I'm wiser, just because I'm older and I've made a lot of mistakes. And there's a lot of things that you can learn from that. Now, there's a lot of people like Pastor Frankie, he was a lot wiser, so you can learn more from him. But just think about that. Go back. Whatever notes you took, go back next week and go over them. And more than that, I don't know if you noticed, I really didn't give you a lot of verses, or probably just mention one. It's because it doesn't matter how many verses I give you, they're not going to change your life. What is going to change your life is to actually go out there and live them, to actually walk with God. You know, all this week has been, with walking in love and walking with love, like Pastor Tino was saying, and we're not doing that. I challenge you to really do it, to truly allow God to change your life, to really fill you, to really be your father. I know that for a lot of you, I know that for me, that made a big difference. To allow God to be my father, to allow him to heal me, to come in and fill that void that I had. And I know that don't make a difference. And I know that you think that coming and just saying verses and singing, once God has really come into your life, you won't even have to say that you're a Christian. People will see it in you. So I know that my talk was probably the most depressing talk you ever had. But just consider it. I know that it's so much easier to go into denial mode and say, no, that's not me, that's not my family. It is. Maybe not in the way I said it, but in a different way. Just think about it, pray to God, ask him for help. And I know that there's a lot of people here that can help you. You know, if you have the need to talk to someone, there's many people that can listen to you. So, okay, I'm going to let you go. I know that I bored the hell out of you. So, thank you.
Come on,